What is going on, everyone? Welcome back into Road Graders. Today we are going to be talking about wide receiver Xavier Legette. If you guys are enjoying wide receiver week, we may as well call that. We're getting into basically a wide receiver every day this week. So go ahead, hit that like button, hit subscribe if you're new here. Drop a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think of Legette's game, and obviously I want to hear who you guys want to see next. So I think we're going to be diving into some offensive linemen next week. So if you guys are into that, go ahead, drop a comment. Let me know who you want to see specifically. We'll be looking at a lot of tackles. So when we get into Legette here, quick note on the statistical side of things. Really interesting career. So he has been around South Carolina since 2019. Combination of injuries and reasons he didn't play, but he basically didn't become a full-time player until 2023, and then he popped off for 71 catches, 1,255 yards, 7 touchdowns, which I think he's just having a hard time staying healthy. Basically, in the 4 years prior, he had 18, 8, 7, and 9 catches, so just not on the field a lot. Really solid advanced stats, only 2 drops on the year. That's coming on a lot of targets, a lot of catches, 2.7 drop rate, a little bit higher yak than some of the guys we've been looking at, more missed tackles, high, decently high average depth of target. Obviously, what he does deep is something that you can't ignore, as well as a contested catch ability. And again, not a lot of screens to inflate some of these stats. So he still had 60 catches that were non-screen. So that's just a personal bias of mine. Obviously, there's those types of receivers, small slot guys that are shifty. Obviously, I want to see what they can do on screens, but I hate seeing guys that just have so much production off screen. So really positive stuff here from the advanced data profile. But then when you get into the comparison to the rest of the class, it doesn't go well for Legette. He's pretty purple here, let's just say. So he's on the lower side of yak per reception, lower side of first down per target, really low on receiving yards per game. Now, I believe that's because this is career, so that's including all those previous years, which really drags it down. Obviously, this year he had 1255. He was one of the most productive receivers, so that's a contextual note that I don't want to get lost. As well as his yards per route run, same idea. So this is a guy that the criticism to me, if there is a criticism, it's just that he had basically his last year was a breakout year. When you look at the advanced data perspective and comparison, I always like to just take a look at this. Again, he's in the lower, echelon. He's one of the lowest in terms of this draft class. But again, beside a guy like DK Metcalf, so it really does, it's just context. That's all. So I don't want to dive too much into that. Interesting thing about him, he was listed as like 6'3", 6'4". On the website, I think on ESPN, if you go to the University of South Carolina's website, they both had him at 6'3". He came in at 6'1". He shrunk 2 inches over the year, but he came in at 221 pounds. So that's kind of the interesting part to me, because I've seen some AJ Brown comparisons thrown out. Now, I would say he has the same body type in terms of having solid height and then being very girthy. You'll see in him, he definitely has that, and he's got the explosive ability, no doubt. Don't think he's the same type of receiver, at least right now. Maybe can get there with some refinement, but just there's so many lapses in his yak game and in his ability to bend and some of the stiffness in his hips. So not going to make that comparison right now, but just I've seen that thrown around, and I think in terms of his size, speed combination, because that's really what type of receiver he is. He's that height, weight, speed guy that really intrigues people. So let's get into the tape, get into what matters here. He's going to work out of the slot, and you're going to see that ability to just blaze and then get up for that ball. He is a contested catch merchant. He's one of the absolute best in this draft class at it. But his ability to work his route tree on, I would say the 7, 9, 8 routes where he's, running goes, posts, and corners. I think that's really where some of his best stuff is, because he's going to work right into the DB here. He's getting good protection. The quarterback's getting good protection. And, he snaps this off and just runs right by the safety. And then his ability to get up on a pretty deep throw, that's from the opposite 30 down to this 30. So that's, traveling a lot of air yards. I pulled this in just so you could see it because he basically floats at the end, so you can really see the explosive athletic ability right there. Wow. So his ability to just get up and float through the air, that's definitely the best aspect of his game. You get him here against the University of Florida, and you can see just that explosive ability there. And my goodness, that his ability to high point the football. He is so fun to watch. So he's going to work nicely through contact there. See it right there. He's going to do that little dip. Again, he's not having to break down and run routes here, so he's got enough fluidity on these deep routes. But right there, that ability to extend. Did I grab the other angle of this one? Hopefully I did. Yeah, I did. You can kind of see it on this view. So tracking, and that's a true high point right there. He's up for that ball. He's playing it through contact. He's bringing it in. That's really the strength of his game. It's that ability to work deep and then be able to get up for the football. And obviously, there's a ton of things that you can project off that. You can project that, red zone ability, whether it's running crossing routes and, getting that ball in the corner of the end zone. The Ravens have wanted that kind of big body guy that can kind of get up for the ball for years. They have it in Mark Andrews right now, but none of these other guys that they've kind of brought in have been that type of wide receiver. So you get it there from him. His ability to work through contact there, and then you're going to get, again, another absolutely insane contested catch. Not a ton of separation, but enough there on the break, and then he's right up for that. And again, perfect high point, good hands catch, and he gets that 1 foot in. Obviously, it's college. You'd have to get 2 in the NFL. But just that ability to get up for that football and high point it, thing of beauty. Something that I think is going to translate really well to the next level for him. So he's going to be down in the slot. I clipped out the arrow because the arrow was on the wrong guy. So he's right there. And again, just, getting up for that ball. But what comes with that is really where his route running prowess is. It's going to be on those bending routes. So, deep crossers, posts, that sort of thing. So you're going to see it right here. So he's going to be in the second slot, and he's going to work vertically. He's going to sell that vertical. Corner's going to start to play him inside, thinking he's going to, work that way. And then he's able to snap off and continue that way. And you can see the separation. Doesn't get a target here, but you can see the clear separation downfield. So that's really where, when we're looking at the routes that he excels at, that is, that ability. There's that kind of intermediate crosser where he's just able to run away from guys. So you see that really pop out on his tape. Love this route right here, because what he does so well is he's playing that slot corner there, and he's going to take that inside step right here, and he's going to try and work vertically against the corner before he breaks. See him right there. So as he does that, he creates that natural separation just by working vertically and then cutting in. So, trying to manipulate the hips, and then he's going to, be able to make that nice hands catch over the middle of the field. Get another one here. Again, doing the same thing. Take that jab step against the corner, and he's gone, and there we go. So that is, a thing of beauty. I think that's very translatable to the next level. It's also something that I can really see being a fit in this offense. Loved this one too, because it does show that I think he can get there. For a guy his size, especially his weight, I think he can get there as a player, because that's a pretty clean stop-start. You see him almost kind of fall. Almost like he surprised his own body that he was able to stop that quick. So, his balance as he runs those kind of breakdown routes, those digs in the middle of the field, that's something that's going to just kind of come naturally as he progresses as a player. It's not quite there yet. And so, some of that stop-start ability, you can kind of see it there. You can basically almost see him drag as he's trying to break to run the out route. and then he gets swarmed up by the coverage. That ball was thrown away. That wasn't a target at him. But this is where I worry about him as a player, especially with out-breaking routes. I've noticed, the in-breaking curved routes I think work just fine, but when he's had to break down and run a breaking route to the outside, it's choppy, it's skippy. You can almost see his feet kind of not sliding but dragging behind, and I've found that corners have been able to get their hands on him. So that's something that I think is really where he needs to develop the most. Kind of see it right there as well, on the outbreaking route. Again, it's choppy. It's not overly polished. He's going to work up vertically, run that out route, and get kind of swarmed a little bit. So that's the biggest area of his game that needs to be improved, basically. Kind of see it there as well. So he ends up making that catch there. But it's not overly clean, and it's coming from once he moved inside of the slot where he has a little bit more space to work outside. And I think that's important because he's not gaining the separation here off the break. It's more his explosive ability to run away from the corner, from the slot. He wouldn't be able to, be afforded that distance if he was working from the outside. So definitely the area of the game that I think he needs to work on the most. You can kind of see him get swarmed there. Let's go back to that one just real quick before we wrap up. See him work, and then he's going to try and go outside. He's basically running, an up and out where he's going to kind of came in a little bit. He's going to work up and then come back out, and he's just swarmed because he doesn't have, enough fluidity in his hips to be able to, cut those breaks really sharp. So Legette's a guy that I feel really safe with in terms of projecting him. I think he is going to early be, that deep threat, that true deep threat that, is able to make contested catches and work vertically, which there's a place in the league for this, absolutely. That's not really a criticism. It's just what I see from him right now. But I see a lot of area where he needs to improve in his route running. I think that's going to make him a one-trick pony just right off the bat. I don't think he has enough explosiveness underneath where he can kind of, run slants and do that kind of thing. But the other thing is, this was his first year where he had over 30 targets in his entire career. So he is very green, and that makes him moldable. So that's why I put it in the thumbnail. You can't ignore the traits, and you can't ignore the traits. Like, they are high level because the athletic ability, as we saw in his RAS, it's there. He is a highly athletic player, and he's physical, and he can high point that ball. So once he starts to kind of put it together, it's just, I think there's an area where he needs that development, and it really just makes you wonder where his best place is going to be to do that development. So that's all I have for you guys today. Hit that like button, hit subscribe if you're new here, drop a comment down below, let me know what you guys think, let me know who you want to see next. Be good to yourselves, be good to each other. Peace out, everyone.